Hi everybody, my name is Ria Rustagi and I'm the co-founder and COO of a startup called Neuphony across Europe and India, and we are developing a wearable neurofeedback device which can not only help you focus, relax, reduce anxiety, stress, sleep better, with the amazing techniques of meditation and music therapy. It uses a different technique. It recommends different techniques for different people based on their brain waves. And we believe that meditation and music can change the way you deal with life. As a part of a startup, every Sunday we bring professionals from different platforms and expertise such as meditation, neuroscience, mental health to come and share their expertise so that we can let these word out how impactful meditation and music can be for your brain. And today I have Sophie Bachmann from Germany. She is a corporate world mindfulness trainer. She is also the co-founder of Zen Go, and now she provides corporate mindful trainings and sets up these training programs for across the world for different countries. Thank you so much, Sophie, for joining us today.
So much. Thank you so much that I can be here, Ria. Really happy to be spending my Sunday evening.
Thank you so much. Firstly, I would like to ask our audience if you have any questions with regards to mindfulness, workplace, meditation, or anything with regards to your work life. Please put in the comments, and I'll ask to Sophie on behalf of you. So I have prepared few questions, like very basic, to understand what it really means, like an unplugged version of a corporate work build mental health. So can you like comment on what are the day-to-day challenges you have seen people face in a corporate world?
Okay, where to start? Well, I mean, first of all, I think it's very individual, of course, what
Of
kind of challenges
course.
we have, what stresses us,
Mhm.
etc. I can maybe tell my
Yes.
biggest challenges I've had when I was still in the corporate world. And now I have different challenges because now I'm in a
Entrepreneur.
company. You know that.
Yes.
But it's a different story. And then I can also share maybe a little bit what I just experienced when I work with clients from the corporate world, what kind of
Mhm.
the main topics that they always come back with. Um, I think. Okay, I wanted to start with the biggest one, but I think I'm gonna
Yes.
keep that for later. So I think one thing that kind of everybody would agree upon is that currently how the work environment, the corporate, but also the startup environment and kind of our world is set up, is by
Definitely.
default very stressful. If you just think back like 100 years ago, how we worked, it was way more automatically, it was way more unitasking. So you did one thing and then you did the next thing. There was no real technology around. So people, I don't know, they just did one thing and had their attention on one thing, right?
Definitely.
Maybe then with the telephone or something, it was ringing a lot. But if you compare it to today, you have, in a typical corporate setting, you have your laptop. So you have so many emails. I remember always after the weekend when I worked still in a big company, I had like 500 emails and thought like, okay, my week is already kind of done doing emails.
Oh my God.
Already. Then you have, next to that, you have so many meetings, right? Often meetings where you think, why am I really here, right? You have also many companies, besides the email as a communication channel, they have intranet, they have kind of social platforms, then they have Microsoft Teams where you can also communicate.
Oh God.
So it's like, so many platforms, so many things. Then you also have your smartphone. So again, there you have notifications from the news. Something is happening somewhere in the world. You kind of feel like you're standing next to it,
Definitely.
right? To see the videos and stuff, all the messages, calls, etc. So it's kind of so much input, so much information coming to us, and this is what many people say. They just feel very stressed by it, very overwhelmed, and they they notice that in order to cope with it, they try to do everything at the same time.
Yeah.
Kind of multitasking, right? And then they feel even more stressed out. And then at the end of the evening, they go home or they leave their home office, go to the kitchen, and they are totally exhausted. So I think these kind of requirements that kind of, I mean, of course, in your job description, it might change from year to year. You get more responsibility, etc. But it's not written anywhere that kind of the world or the business world demands, also with every new technology that's coming, demands you to put your attention on even more things. And then I think another thing is that I think many people are struggling with finding a balance. So working hard, making a career, organizing, strategizing, which I think is really important, obviously. But then doing also as to counterbalance things like unwinding, sleeping well, doing things for themselves that feel really good. They either don't know actually what would help them, or they feel like they don't have any control or any power. They feel, in German there's the word fremdgesteuert. They feel like somebody else is managing them. And maybe the third thing might be that something that people often don't say so consciously, but it might be this feeling, I go to work and I'm a different person. Or I have to be a different person, right? I put on my mask. I'm the manager, and then I go home and then I kind of try to be myself again. And this can be really stressful because you spend more time at work normally than at home. So you feel like there's no space for vulnerability, for showing yourself without being judged.
Oh my God, you have explained it in such a nice manner that I can actually, feel a little bit relatable even as an entrepreneur to some of the things, because the way we work right now, it's too hectic. Like sometimes it's just you have so many communication and tracking and monitoring. The real work is not really like on an average, I think 3 to 4 hours for an 8-hour shift basically. So the rest does get a little anxious, at least for a person like me. I'm an introvert. So for me, communicating in a very big firm, especially like in an MNC or in the corporate world where you have to network, you are supposed to communicate with your team, with your peers, and not just work. There are dedicated hours for this. So it does get a little too much, maybe, to deal with. Thank you so much for sharing this. So, can you also comment something about the burnouts? So, how often do people get burnouts, and what is the root cause behind it? Like, is there something like, what are the possible reasons? Maybe there were some signs which people avoided, so that they can avoid reaching that stage where they are just burnt out and they want to take a break and leave the job for like 5-6 months, or they just question their career decisions basically.
I think in general I don't have any numbers in my head, but I think sometimes I look at the German health insurance providers. There's like on top of that an organization that kind of gathers data from all of them, and then they publish it once a year, and I always look at their report, and it's really crazy to see how the burnout rates really go up exponentially. Have been going up exponentially. I mean, that's why you're also addressing that, right?
Yes, in the past 20 years, I think it's tripled. I also saw the same report for Germany. And I think in the past 20 years, it's triple, somewhere like something like that. But even double is a significant number, like I feel.
Yeah, crazy. And also in the company I worked, there were many people that either came back from a burnout, or you just heard it like casually, like, like gossip talk in the kitchen, like, oh, have you heard this guy and that guy? Oh, this team has another burnout case. And I was like, oh my God, that's horrible.
Yes. So what are generally the symptoms behind this? Like,
I think there are many definitions of what burnout is. It's also such a difficult disease because it's not so easy to grasp and maybe not so easy to admit also to yourself. I think sometimes people say you get a burnout when you kind of I mean, I think it's always correlated to working too much.
Definitely.
But then maybe a lack of purpose.
Yeah.
What I really liked is there was a study, I think from Harvard University, done already in the beginning of the 20th century, so in 1909 or something. And it's like you have like a graph, so like this, you have your y and your x-axis. And I often use that in workshops. And I ask people, if you have on one axis, you have your effort, so how much you put into something, and then on the other one you have your performance. Maybe you have seen it before, Ria. It's used a lot.
Yeah.
And then I always ask people, so how do you think is the correlation between these two? And then people always say, well, the more effort, the more I get, right? So then they say it's a linear thing. But actually what they found out is that it's rather this
yes.
Actually, you know what I mean?
Yeah, a reverse U basically, like an easy
exactly.
language.
So of course, when you do a project and you don't put any effort in, of course you will not get anything out. But it's kind of, you have a point where it's really amazing. You work a lot, but you also, your performance is just flowing. But then afterwards, if you leave that point, you push even more, your performance and your outcome is just going down. And kind of at the bottom at that would be kind of burnout. So I think, and that's what I kind of teach with mindfulness a little bit, to understand for yourself, where are you on this curve right now, right? So you can also be too bored, of course, you don't want that.
Exactly.
But I think we just know when we are at this, this kind of maximum point,
peak.
Where we're like, I do a lot, but also I feel like my results are really good. I go home, I still have some energy. But many people, they overdo it, and then they go into this kind of red zone, which for some time is fine. But I think, and there's a sentence in German, I can't always my German sentence. It says, in German, I translate it in a second, wenn du dem Körper beim Flüstern zuhörst, wirst du niemand schreien hören. Which says, if you hear, or if you listen to your body while it's whispering, you will never hear it shouting. And I think the body, once we start to go out of this kind of healthy zone of effort, the body starts to give us signs, right? We feel it maybe for a longer period of time. We get really tight in shoulders, we start to develop headaches. I had many colleagues at my former workplace that took 4 or 5 aspirin a day. It was normal. They said, well, otherwise I have headache all the time. And I thought, wow, you're already, you're already going down. And then if we don't kind of listen to that, then other symptoms start to show up. Also psychological symptoms. For example, if I feel like over a longer period of time, I feel very irritated, or I cannot sleep well, or I don't feel appetite anymore, or the opposite, I feel like I have to eat all the time. When I feel like I come home from work and something that normally was fun for me, I don't feel up for that anymore, just lie on the couch. I think these are some signs that that are there before you have a burnout, but I think it's very hard, and I understand that so much, to be honest to yourself, to have time to reflect.
Yes.
Or take the time, and also to then share it, like with your manager or something, right?
Yes, definitely. So I think that definitely understanding and acceptance is a very, very big task. But I believe that there is a loop generally which starts to happen very often, like which you were pointing out, like the peak of the curve. So it's more like either it is like you're working too much, and then as you said, you reach that peak, and then there starts like you overdo it, and then you start losing your efficiency, and then your attention span starts getting reduced, and then it kind of goes in a loop, because then you're not efficient, and then you're not paying more attention, and then you're spending a lot more time at work, but it's not really resulting in a lot, and it kind of results in like frustration. So when you think that you've had, like, let's say 5 bad days at work, like a little bit frustrated, not efficient enough, I think that it would be good like to take a day off for your mental peace. Like I feel that's what I used to do, you know. I used to take a day off whenever I used to feel like too exhausted mentally to deal with work. I never go to work if I feel I'm just gonna go there and sit. I always make sure I sit for like 7 hours, but I get the job done. And if I cannot, then I just take a sick leave, you know. I think that this should be more promoted, because my mental health is like as important as my physical, and this should be given like a lot more importance, I feel.
Yeah, and I think it's really, when you say your mental health is so important, like also coming back to how our workload is structured now. Like there are, at least in my environment, like of course it's different for some people, but when you look at these white collar jobs, I think you can always call them.
Yeah.
We have like our tool is our mind, right?
Yeah.
Like of course it's nice if we have our hands to type and stuff. But even if we didn't take care of our body anymore, of course maybe we would get sick, but in terms of strength, it would not totally prohibit our kind of ability to kind of do our jobs, right?
Yeah.
And that's why like we really need to have a sharp mind and like a healthy mind.
Exactly.
Not only a healthy mind, also a sharp mind.
Sharp mind.
And I think it's so paradox, like so weird actually to think about it, how important it is to have a good mental state and how few time most of the people take care of their mental health.
Yeah, it's very less. Like I've seen people coming frustrated to work, not being able to deliver, but they have to be there kind of thing. I just don't get the I do get the have to be thing, like for the project's sake, but there are a little bit more, like I know a lot cannot be done sometimes in a day if you're not at your best, and sometimes one day can actually like make you reach, like do wonders. Now when we talk about this, how and also I would like to touch one more topic before we go to the solution part, that how what is your take on negative working environment? Because do you feel that that is pretty common in the West, like Germany, maybe? Like I'm coming from Asia. Is it very common? Is it something that can impact or take like a negative toll? And is this something that you have seen people reaching out to you for?
It's a very interesting question. I don't know if it's more common in the West than in the East or something, or particularly Germany. I mean, my boyfriend is American, so we talk a lot about American. But
Exactly.
I would even say, he would say that the work culture in general is better in the US, because people tend to be more expressive and positive.
Exactly.
I don't know. You know?
Yes,
Yeah, maybe.
that's the case in India also.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
people are very communicate. So you will have like a lot of friends. You can easily talk. There's a personal relationship between your manager and your team. So that makes it a little less stressful and political, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure about Germany as such, because I haven't worked like for many big companies. But yeah, this is something like I would like your opinion on.
Yeah, I think in general, I would say, particularly if you look at bigger companies that have been there for a long time, they might be still way more hierarchical than in other countries. There's
Exactly.
This, like, I mean, there are still companies. You know this differentiation in Germany between do and see?
Yeah.
And there are still companies where
you have to refer to the managers as the... Yeah.
Yeah, it's really formal.
Yeah.
So this is for me like, oh my god, I cannot imagine. But I do think, I do think it doesn't really, it can correlate a lot with negativity, but it doesn't have to be if there's still a lot of respect and empowerment.
Exactly.
But in general, I do think there are many corporate work environments that are destructive or negative, and I have also many people telling me about it for sure. I also sometimes do some like kind of surveys. I think I did one via LinkedIn half a year ago or something, where people just anonymously kind of shared their feelings, and I was reading it. I thought really like, oh my god, this sounds horrible. People really telling me like, I'm afraid to go to work every day. I hate my manager, stuff like that.
Oh my God.
On the other hand, and I also experienced work. I mean, I worked once. I don't want to name a company. I worked once in a company. It was an internship, so that was really good because it was temporary. But I noticed how the team was really bullying one person, and that was really that really stuck with me. Like how shocked I was by a dynamic of a group of people that were individually really nice, but then together they kind of built this weird image of this person that actually was super nice, and then they kind of bullied her out. I think when I work with people and they tell me that, what I try to do, but that's of course always easier said than done, but I try to help them get a little bit more into their strength. To either have the strength to leave or to also have the strength to bring some positive influence into the work environment where they are, because most of the time it's still people. And let's say you have a company with 100 people and you have a negative constructive work environment. I don't think each individual person would really say, oh yes, this is what I really love, negative work environment, that's why I promote it every day. I think it would be more, it's just the dynamic that's around, and maybe a habit or just a culture thing. And I think if one person starts to change and then three persons start to change, etc., it can really influence, but you need a lot of inner strength to do that. Otherwise, I think you're like a flower that can bloom, right? Yeah.
Definitely. Like I can, and sometimes there are very good companies and very good teams, but there are, like as you said, few people which can create a negative work environment, like for people. Like I know there are situations where people avoid meeting few people or teammates because that energy and that understanding and the trust is lacking basically. So it just creates like, oh yeah, I don't want to meet her or something like that. Now that we've talked so much about the different problems and the different symptoms, can you just say how mindfulness can actually impact your everything at workplace? Like what is that you do with your clients that really like help them overcome these challenges?
I think, sorry, I just had to connect my micro to battery. Okay. Yeah, I think where to start. I mean, it's like
it's a lot.
it's like an entire field that starts to happen when you start to practice some mindfulness and meditation. I think, what I said before, I think mindfulness really helps to boost your inner strength, but not like a fake inner strength or something that comes from getting a compliment. It's not fake, but you feel good because somebody tells you you're good. I think mindfulness and meditation is something where, you kind of, your inner flower starts to bloom, and you don't need anything outside to support that. And then, like, you really take care of your inner world. And this helps you, and it really helped me when I was still in the corporate world to be more you, and also to live your full potential. So for me, mindfulness is always about, first, in case you have any, let's say, I don't want mental issues sound so negative, but like, I think, it's just
mental health challenges, struggles.
Maybe you cannot unwind, blah, 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 all these things. You say my health is not perfect, but then it doesn't stop there. Once you say, hey, I sleep amazingly now and I have tools to unwind, then it goes even further, and it helps you to have the inner power to bring your voice into the world, to have new ideas, to be more creative, and also the strength to set boundaries. So to maybe, if you are in a negative environment, speak up finally, or change team, or to initiate change, for instance.
And just not sometimes just care, because it doesn't get inside and then it just outside. The negativity is not coming to you, it just stays outside. And actually there's I would like to just comment here, like there are scientific proof that mindfulness can actually increase your prefrontal cortex, like, and also the gray matter, which means that you can so basically your prefrontal cortex is responsible for your day-to-day activities, your social emotional responses, your working memory. So everything actually gets bigger with mindfulness meditation. Like scientifically you can actually track that and test that. So that means that this is not just a philosophical or a psychological impact that, oh, I'm meditating and I can deal with daily shit better. No, it's really proven techniques from amazing universities all across the world. So how do you provide these? So what do people do? Like, do they do daily meditation when they are sitting at work? How does it go about?
It's very different per team, per person, I would say. What I do with when I work with organizations, it's either I come in for a workshop, so it's 1 day or even 3 to 4 hours, and I show them just some, as you just shared, some scientific studies and stuff, so that also the critics are like, oh, this is really a thing. And then I let them experience a lot of meditations, like mindfulness meditation, walking meditation. Sometimes we do some mindful listening, mindful eating exercises, body scans. I sometimes do loving kindness meditation, which people always love, even though before they're like, that's too cheesy for me. And then I also I have also an 8 weeks program where I really work with a team for 8 weeks, and there we cover many meditations, but also a lot of background stuff, like, for instance, the topic of autopilots. Like, most of us, we walk through the day, we have so many things we do unconsciously, and some of them are not good for us or not good for others, so we neglect that, for instance. And then it also, so I give people these specific tools, but also I really like to show them how can they even, without doing something on top, because that's what often people think when we start to work. They're like, I'm already doing so much, I can't do more. And for those people, I try to give them just like micro practices that they can do during the day. So one thing is breathing exercises, coming down to something as simple as, before you enter the next meeting, take a deep breath in and out. And this is something they can, for instance, train in the morning, have a morning routine, and then their brain already knows, when I breathe in and out, I slow down time.
Yeah.
Or I show them a little bit how they can go back from multitasking to single tasking, to be focusing on one thing. And then, of course, training this meta level awareness that you automatically learn right when you start to meditate.
Yes.
So that they are aware of what's going on in their bodies, reflect their thoughts, reflect what's going on, and then also increase empathy a little bit with others.
Definitely. Wow, this sounds so amazing.
No.
I have a question here. Have you ever tried neurofeedback on any of your clients?
No, I would love to.
No, we have to do that once I'm back in Munich, because I like whatever you're saying, I know the scientific perspective of it, and it would be like so cool to kind of actually see that, because you tell people, see, you're not accepting, but you're right now stressed and you're anxious and you're kind of pre-burnout phase, because that is what you can be seen, because I am borderline anxiety sometimes, like because of my prefrontal cortex, it's high beta all the time. So I am very efficient, but I am also very a borderline workaholic to anxious, like tending towards that. So I'm really at that peak right now. And if I just even overdo it for a week, I have a burnout and I take a breakout. Like there's a breakout not every month once, but yeah, there are incidents. But now I know how I can kind of manage and control that using meditation, obviously. So it'll be like really cool once I'm back. We should do this.
Yes. Yeah, let's really do that. Let me know when you're back. I would love to. Oh, also on me, like I never get neurofeedback on me. I saw it with some friends that have, I don't know how you, I think there's one company also, it's called Muse or something.
Yeah.
And they just showed me the specific thing and I was really impressed. So yeah, I would love to do that. And also, can I ask you a question?
Yes, definitely.
Maybe you shared this already sometimes, then please let me know. But because I think this also resonates with me a lot. It's like very active, a lot of activity in the brain. You can easily grasp what somebody's saying. You have so many ideas, are really efficient, but then you're also borderline anxious.
Yes.
And I think I can relate to that also a lot. And I would like to know also, what kind of meditation do you do actually?
So I actually tried mindfulness meditation, but that doesn't really help for me, unfortunately, because this is supposed to help me, but I've gone through pretty traumatic times. So whenever I try mindfulness, I kind of go sometimes into anxiety and panic attack regions, because my brain is too calm and I can really hear and feel my thoughts, like my subconscious fears. I can actually feel them, and that doesn't feel very good. So what I try is I try a particular frequency of music. I was able to get it via neurofeedback. That particular music like helps me sleep. I started having like sleep issues, and now being so much into this domain, you, even if it's 4 days, you get it. You, even after not being able to sleep for 4 days, I understood that this is something which will go for long, because I was sleeping at 3 o'clock and getting up at 8, and my days were tired. So I started using particular music, and within few minutes I'm off into sleep. So that's what I use for sleep. There's another om chant, transcendental music, which I listen for my work basically. So what I do is whenever, so especially during COVID times, I used to like play this music, my earphones, and like put the device on and just go into workspace. And I kind of validated that this helped me improve my attention span and not let my my thoughts wander away. So I use different techniques for different targets, and like generally my favorite and go-to is breathing techniques. So like I always, even before my live sessions, I like take 5 minutes off, like of utmost calm, and I'll be like, but now it was like my brain took a second off, no thought during this 6 7 8 seconds, and it really helps me.
I definitely have to try the thing as well. And yeah, I also love breathing techniques. Also this morning, for instance, maybe to share that, I always love to share personal
Definitely.
stuff. The world needs it more. Like this morning, I mean it's Sunday today, so I slept in and I felt really like low in energy, like even a little bit depressed. I also feel like this like lack of sunlight is really getting to me, and then the COVID situation and stuff. And I was feeling so down and for like 2-3 hours, already thinking like, oh no, I have the interview with Maria tonight. and then I actually booked a yoga class already, and I thought, I'm not gonna take it, but then I just started. And like for me, also yoga is such an amazing tool, because I don't know, afterwards, like there was never a time when I felt not a slightly bit better. And in the beginning, we did also Kapalabhati, this like breath of fire, which I don't know if your listeners know it. It's like something where you cannot see me now, but you move your belly in a very you have a rapid breathing, right?
Yes.
And then it's really like, it's way more effective than coffee. Like afterwards, you're so awake, and also you kind of get the energy stirring in the body.
Yes.
And already in the beginning of the yoga class today, after the Kapalabhati, it's so good. Like it was like you would have some mud inside of you, and then it kind of kicked it out, and then the yoga and the meditation, and afterwards it's just fine. And I really thought again, like of course I've had this many times, but I really just want to cry, because I'm so thankful for these methods, that they're there, that they're free, and you don't need to take any pill or anything. You can just do it yourself. If you don't feel well, you do the technique, you feel better. If you want to work better, you do your the special the music. it's just amazing. But I think in the corporate world, many people don't know these techniques yet.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's why your role comes into the picture, and it's so amazing. That's why I really wanted to interview, because you won't find a lot of work life, like workplace, a corporate world mindful trainers. And I feel like this is very important, because I've seen so many people saying that this is just psychological and it's just not really helpful and this is like not scientific enough. But I'm like, no, guys, this is the most scientific thing that can actually exist. It was created with scientific evidence, and there is a lot of scientific study behind it.
So again, what I find so paradox is that on the one side, maybe the bigger side, many people are like, yeah, it's not scientific, they don't even want to try it. But then you also have on the other side people like super successful people like Steve Jobs, who's
Yes.
not alive anymore, and Ray Dalio, like he's one of the, I think, the most successful hedge fund manager in the world. So many sportsmen, also like very, very successful people that we kind of admire. And they even say, many of them say, if I wouldn't meditate, I would not be so good.
Exactly.
So that's also the paradox, right? Again.
No, it's just that because those people have reached there, and meditation and mindfulness helps them be the real them, like you said, and I really like that. So I think they acknowledge that, and the people who have not tried it. So it's basically like, I feel it's like going to the gym. The first day you have to challenge yourself and push yourself to do it. The first week you will not like it, but only after the second or the third week you'll really start to get a routine of it, and then you start enjoying it. Similarly is meditation. The only challenge with meditation additionally is that you don't see the proof. You don't see the scientific proof that it's impacting me. It's not like I'm burning 100 calories today, I've walked 10,000 steps today. You don't see that, and that's where exactly neurofeedback can be helpful, because it can actually show you that today your attention span was 30 seconds, tomorrow maybe it was 32, day after tomorrow it was 35, and over a period of 8 weeks, from 30 seconds it's 2 minutes or 5 minutes. And that's where exactly how, because 3 years back when I did meditation, I was like, do I have to sit idle? Am I doing it right? This doesn't, it's like a waste of my time for 5 minutes, that was me 3 years back. And then slowly neurofeedback like played a major role, not promoting my product, but just promoting the technology and the science behind, basically.
Yeah, you can also promote your product.
No. It's more about the technology that it's really helpful.
Yeah. I think particularly in the corporate world where there's a lot of skepticism still, and people want to see facts and numbers. I think this is really something that can make a huge shift for either people trying it that normally wouldn't try it, or even better, proving, like having the proofs that things really, like, I mean, if you can show that how the attention span changes, that's amazing.
Yes. Yeah. Perfect. So thank you so much, Sophie, for this amazing and wonderful conversation. There's a lot of I see a lot of comments, but like just likes and no more questions for us. Thank you so much for joining us. For all our audience, please check out the video will be on our Facebook channel and also on our YouTube channel, www.neuphony.com. We wish every one of you very festive season, because Christmas is around the corner, and we wish that you get to be with your family and loved ones away from all the workplace stress, anxiety, and everything else that the workplace gets you. Thank you so much, Sophie, for again joining us and giving us your time on Sunday.
Let's get in touch when you come back to Germany to do some nice neurofeedback experiments together. I would love to try it.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Sophie.
Thank you so much. Thank you also everyone for listening. And Merry Christmas to everyone. And also also to you, Ria.
Thank you, Sophie.
See you soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.